it is just chanting. It is not so. Stories or information. It is divided in 4 lakh. Ramayana has 24,000 verses. Mahabharata has almost 1 lakh verses. But all the 18 Puranas together have 4 lakh verses. So this is the depth of the Puranas. So there will be so much of information in each of them. So this is a gist of what exactly are Puranas. And now now these Puranas, they have stories related to our many gods, Shiva, Vishnu, many demigods also. Demigods like Indra, Vayu, Indra, rain god, Vayu, wind god. So demigods, sages, then kings stories are there. Then kings stories are there. Many families, family dynasty stories are there. Like Rama's dynasty is Surya Vansha. Janaka's dynasty is Soma Vansha, that is Sita's son. So it is not that they will tell you only about Rama and Sita alone. No. Who was Rama's father, grandfather, only about Rama and Sita alone. No. Who was Rama's father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and so on. So the entire family. Then Puranas also contain some information about temples, the different temples of it. Then little bit of philosophy. Then astronomy, geography, pilgrimages. Then astronomy, geography, pilgrimages, where people go on yatras. Tours, we all go on a tour. I went to this place, that place, a 10-place tour. Tours. So like this, there are a lot of topics which are covered in the Puranas. So again, I'm repeating, it is not that it will relate Puranas. So again, I'm repeating, it is not that it will relate only to one god. For example, Bhagavata Purana talks only about Krishna. Those who have read the Bhagavata Purana, you will know, it doesn't talk only about Krishna. There are thousands of other topics also. So, though we should never, whenever we look at any Purana, for example, mean that it will talk only about Vishnu. Apart from Vishnu also, it will talk about 10,000 other things. So, just the names are given, but there are a lot of varied topics that are discussed in each Purana. As I told you, history, geography, medicine, philosophy, bit of grammar, then stories of gods, goddesses, kings, sages, are like an encyclopedia. You get information about everything. Okay. So now these are the Puranas that are there, and in them also you also have information about spiritual practices. Now, what are spiritual practices? Just like today, each one of us, some people do bhakti yoga, devotion, yoga, or any practice. Yoga, physical, meditation, pranayama, and so on. So like this, Puranas will also describe all those practices. So then, 1 minute. Want to say something? Someone said something. Okay. Topics. The division of the Puranas first reveals. Now I told you there are 18 Puranas. Now these 18 Puranas are divided in 3 categories. 6, 3s are 8. So 6 are said to be Sattvic Puranas that show something that relates to Lord Vishnu. The next 6 are Rajasic Puranas and they glorify Lord Brahma. And the remaining 6 are Tamasic Puranas and they relate to Lord Shiva. Now that doesn't mean that Shiva is Tamasic, relate to Lord Shiva. Now that doesn't mean that Shiva is Tamasic, only Vishnu is Sattvic. Now Shiva is responsible for our destruction towards the end of our life. Brahma is known for the creation and Vishnu is known for managing everything. So, and so on, how we have that Shiva, Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, we can say. The other way, creation, then life, and then death. So similarly, these Puranas also are categorized in 3 categories. 6 Puranas glorifying Lord Vishnu, 6 glorifying Lord Brahma, and 6 glorifying Lord Shiva. Now here also, those 6 will not just talk about Lord Vishnu. Why these divisions are made? Just for our easy understanding. So that because we have 3 principal gods as we believe in Indian tradition, Shiva, Brahma and Vishnu. And the different avatars, everything, incarnations, all that comes. So just the titles are given as 666 categories are made, but these Puranas will also talk about different aspects, different stories. So that we will discuss later. Now, what are the Vaishnava Puranas. Vaishnava Puranas of those 6 Puranas that glorify Lord Vishnu. Vaishnava Puranas of those 6 Puranas that glorify Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Purana. First is Vishnu Purana. Second, Narada Purana. Third, Vamana Purana. Vishnu Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, Matsya Purana, Garuda Purana, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishnu Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, Matsya Purana, Garuda Purana, and Srimad Bhagavatam. So these 3 are Vaishnava Puranas that describe stories related to Lord Vishnu. Next 6 come Brahma Puranas include one Brahma Purana. Next, Bhavishya Purana. Agni Purana. Third, Brahma Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Agni Purana. Fourth is Brahmanda Purana. Brahmanda creation. Padma Purana, Brahma Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Agni Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and Padma. So these 6 form the Brahma Puranas. And those 6 next category that glorify Lord. Last is Shiva Puranas.
Okay. Just a minute.
There are 6 in number.
Doubt. இது வந்து விஷ்ணு புராண இந்த ஆறாவது என்னது ஆறாவது கருடாக்கு அப்புறம்
விஷ்ணு புராணம் விஷ்ணு புராணம் 6th ஸ்ரீமத்
பாகவதம் நாரத புராண வாமன புராணம்
கரெக்ட் ஸ்ரீமத் பாகவதம் So one minute, I'll tell the Brahma Puranas. Brahma Vaivarta, Brahma Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Agni Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and Padma Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and Padma. Okay.
So Vishnu also please repeat, na?
I'm not having any reference with me, so I'm just telling how I remember. So I'll tell you, I hope I tell in the same order. Vishnu Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, Matsya Purana, Garuda Purana, and Srimad Bhagavatam. These 6 are Vaishnava Puranas, are in praise of Lord Vishnu. Next are in praise of Lord Brahma. Brahma are Brahma Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Agni Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and Padma. Last, Shiva Purana. Shiva Purana, first itself is Shiva Purana, Linga Purana. Now, Linga Purana is also called as Vayu Purana in some references. Okay? So, Vayu Purana, Kurma Purana, Markandeya Purana, Skanda Purana, and Varaha. Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, Skanda Purana, and Varaha Purana. So I think there is 18 are done. So now it was said that there were earlier 64 Puranas in all. So 18 these Mahapuranas, and there were 18 primary Upapuranas also. Like I told you, there were many other secondary Upapuranas also. So these were some topics that were, these were the 18 Puranas that were told, categorized into 3 categories and told Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Now next we'll see, now all these Puranas, how is their story, what is included in these Puranas? You have 5 elements. One is Sarga. Sarga is, I'm telling you the topics like are included in these Puranas. Sarga, Pratisarga, Manvantara, Vamsha, Vamshanucharita. These are the 5 words. Now all this, if you can, you note it down. Otherwise you can just listen. So I'm telling you slowly only. So these are called as a Pancha Lakshanas. Pancha Lakshanas, or how you can identify what is a Purana, or you can say the features of Puranas. For this also you have a verse. Sargascha Pratisargascha Vamsho Manvantarani verse. Sargascha Pratisargascha Vamsho Manvantarani cha Vamshanucharitam chaiva Puranam Panchalakshanam. So this is a verse. Now we'll see what are these 5. One is Sarga. Sarga means the creation of the universe. How was this universe created? From where did it start? The universe. How was this universe created? From where did it start? Who did it? So in geography we study, right? You have a sun, earth, something came and bang, Big Bang theory, all that is modern astronomy. So all these Puranas also, they talk about the creation of the universe. That is correct. Next is the creation of the universe. That is correct. Next is Pratisarga. Pratisarga talks about creation and destruction, both. If a living creature, human being or animal is born, it also dies. After it dies, again it is born. So it's a cycle. Creation, cyclical process is Pratisarga. Sarga, Pratisarga. Third, Manvantara. Vaivaswata Manvantare is a Manvantara that is going on now. So the different eras. Manvantara is nothing but an era. E-R-A, era. So Manvantaras. So various Manvantaras it talks about what were the previous Manvantaras, what will be the Pandavas. Pandavas or the Mahabharata has reference to the lunar dynasty. All of us also, we all belong to either solar or lunar, some dynasty. That is why even today in India, if you see, a few religions or a few people, few cultures, we follow the solar calendar, a few we follow the lunar calendar. Right? Religious is, someone came. Fifth is Vamshanucharita. Fifth is Vamshanucharita. Now what is Vamshanucharita? Vamshanucharita is a royal lineage. Loyal lineage means it talks about the different kings who rule. Only today we are not having the system of kings ruling us. Even today in some countries, today we are not having the system of kings ruling us. Even today in some countries of the world we have the kings ruling. But today we are not having it in India. We have the ministers, prime minister, president and so on. But in a few years ago, few centuries ago, you had these kings who were ruling over. So it talks about fifth is Vamshanucharita. So it talks about fifth is Vamshanucharita. Sarga, Pratisarga, Manvantara, Vamsha. These are five main aspects or the Pancha Lakshanas of the Puranas. So someone asks you what does a Purana tell about, you can give them this answer. These are talking. If you what does a Purana tell about, you can give them this answer. These are talking. These are the topics of the Puranas. Okay. Next. Now we will see one by one each Purana. Now I exactly told you what are the Puranas, what they talk about and so on. Now we will see Puranas. Now before we actually see the Puranas, a question might come in your mind. Why should I know the Puranas or why should I read the Puranas? Now, Puranas are an important part of our culture, as I told you. Now, it is not possible for everyone to study the Vedas. It is not possible knowing the meaning, philosophy and so on. It is not easy for everyone. Next comes Ramayana, Mahabharata. That too 24,000 verses, 1 lakh verses. Leave it. That also I don't want to study. Next comes Puranas. Puranas also I told you in all there are 4 lakh verses. But you all the whatever they want to tell you, Puranas, whatever they preach, it's in the form of stories. For small children also, you tell them some philosophy. Don't do this, don't do that. You tell them, they will not listen. But if you tell them through some story, maybe a story of a small child, a story of some animals and so on, then we understand it very well. With the help of examples, we understand it more easily. So that is why the Puranas, whatever they want to preach, it is in the form of stories, and all the information that is in the Puranas is quite interesting. So even people who say that I don't believe in God or this, that, something, you don't believe in system, what is all this, then you can, Puranas also have some information that is related to our own interest. For example, some people will have interest towards geography. So you can read some Purana which talks about geography. And some history, or I want to know the kings who ruled over, so you can study that. Or I want to know the different places who ruled over, so you can study that. Or I want to know the different places that are to be visited, you can know that. So like this, there are different topics that are covered in the Puranas. It is not related to one topic. So that is why Puranas, there was a purpose to create these Puranas, so that all the people, all the classes of the society, it can reach and everyone can study the Puranas easily. So this was the main purpose of why the Puranas came. Now we talk about each Purana.
Can you tell me please what is the purpose of the Purana? Puranas created? Any idea?
That's what I told you now. It's more easy for the common patient.
Okay.
Next, we move on. Now, if anyone you have any questions or so also, like if you don't feel satisfied with this, either towards the end we'll speak or you message me later, we will speak even.
Ma'am, you also tell in Tamil mix with
Konjama
Tamil language.
Okay. Vishnu Purana. Then first we'll start with the Vishnu Purana. Vishnu Purana in all has 23,000 verses. 23,000 verses divided in 126 chapters. This is the Vishnu Purana. 23,000 verses, 126. This is the Vishnu Purana. 23,000 verses, 126 chapters. It is centered, but it mainly talks about Lord Vishnu and his incarnations like Krishna. But it also talks about Brahma and Vishnu. Talks about Brahma and Vishnu, and the Vishnu Purana clearly states that Brahma and Shiva are equal to Vishnu. Vishnu Purana itself states. We are the people who have created discrimination by saying this is Vaishnavism, this is Shaivism, you are a Vishnu devotee, and Brahma and Shiva are equal. They are one with Lord Vishnu. Okay. So why all these problems come, or when people say, he is a Shiva devotee, he is greater to me, I am a Vishnu devotee, I am greater to you, and so on. That is all, only man has made all these problems. That is because they have not studied the Vishnu Purana. They have not studied our own scripts, or we hear so many, or we ourselves, we make such comments. That is because we have not studied everything, we have not read all the things. It is okay if we don't read it, it's not possible for everyone to read everything. But at least we should not make any comment. You can say, okay, I don't know regarding anything. You follow what you want to, but I will not make any comment. This is what, especially, then why I'm telling you this is, you also today after you go home, after the class is over, if you tell someone that no, I attended a Purana session or something. So then you will tell them what happened. So then someone will ask you which God is great or something like that. Or you attend any such religious class or something, you're learning something, people will randomly do ask. It's not that everyone asks, but some people do ask. So at that time, we should not give any answers. Or there are some people who are purposely, they want to create fights. So at that time, they will ask you questions. Which Markandeya Purana. Devi worship is Markandeya. So at that time when they ask this question, Markandeya Purana. Devi worship is Markandeya. So at that time when they ask us questions, we should just tell them you read all the Puranas, you will get a clear answer. You read a text, you will get a clear answer. Nowhere any discrimination is mentioned as far as I know. So this, you can give people a very clear answer. Now I'm not telling this only because someone will question you and you have to give an answer. Now I'm not telling this only because someone will question you and you have to give an answer to everyone. For our own knowledge also, many times in our mind also, questions like this come up. Like, is it true? Because we see so much of discrimination happening around us. We hear so many people telling, I will worship only Vishnu, I will worship only Shiva. We hear so many people telling, I will worship only Vishnu, I will worship only Shiva. We have all these conflicts that happen till date in our country. We don't see it around always, but still, yes, it is happening. People are fighting over religion even today. That's because we don't know things, that's it. We are not knowledgeable, we have all scriptures because we don't know things, that's it. We are not knowledgeable, we have all scriptures, we have not read them. So nowhere does God mention that I am great or he is low, all such things. It's created by man only. The Puranas are a proof for this. So next we move on. So this is Vishnu Purana. It contains 23,000 verses divided in, talks about Vishnu as a main god, plus Brahma and Shiva are also there who are said to be equal to Vishnu. Then Vishnu Purana also talks about famous devotees of Vishnu like Narada, Prahlada, Dhruva, the famous pole star Dhruva, Narada, Sage Narada and Prahlada. This Purana also talks about some demigods like Indra, Kubera and Varuna, Tribal. So here you have a type of meditation, Yoga Nidra. Those who practice yoga or Shavasana that we do, some yoga academies will have is said to be in Yoga Nidra always. So this Yoga Nidra is when the yoga instructor, he will, when all the people are lying down. Yoga Nidra doesn't mean that you're sleeping, but one by one the all your organs, starting from your head till your feet. He will tell, close your eyes, close your ears, feel the breath. And so in this Purana, Vishnu Purana, it is mentioned about Yoga Nidra also. So all the yoga practices that we do, today yoga is famous even in other countries also, foreigners, everyone is practicing it so well. We Indians have yet not got a very good hold on it. We tell, okay, let it be. Some people are doing it, we are very happy that yoga is spread, okay, let it be. Some people are doing it, we are very happy that yoga is spread all over, but when it comes to we ourselves practicing it, it is very much hardly a few people doing it. But we are more interested in gymming and power yoga, this and that's not wrong, of course. I'm not telling that that is wrong, this is okay. But this yoga nidra, it's not that someone one person that is wrong, this is okay. But this yoga nidra, it's not that someone one person has created it. It is very much related. It is mentioned in Vishnu Purana itself. When it talks about Lord Vishnu's Yoga Nidra, from that is when all this yoga system has come into being. In this Purana, Lord Vishnu is also called in many names, that Achyuta, Jagannatha, Padmanabha, Damodara, Rishikesha. Those who do the Sandhyavandanam, when you do, after the Achamanam, when you do the all your Keshava, Madhava, Narayana, and so on. So all these names, from where have they come? They are mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. So Vishnu has many names, but out of them also, if you're doing the Sandhyavandanam regularly, you'll know Keshava, Madhava, Janardana, Narayana, and so on. Whatever names you have, 12, 14 names, they are mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. So that is why those names are included in the Sandhyavandanam also. Vishnu has thousands of names, we know in the Vishnu Sahasranam. But why only these? Because they have Vishnu Purana. Next, we move on. So I'm telling you in very small gist only, so that because it's a very small session, maybe later we can have of each Purana we can talk in detail. But this I'm just telling you a very small gist. Next is Narada Purana. Narada Purana is also called as Naradi, 1000 verses, and it also discusses about the 4 Vedas and the 6 Vedangas. 6 Vedangas, we know the 6 Vedangas that are the Chandas, Vyakarana, and so on. 6 Vedangas are the 6 schools of philosophy. Here, Narada Purana also lists the major rivers of India, starting from Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Kaveri, and so on. So Narada Purana, it doesn't talk about any god. It talks about major rivers of India and places of pilgrimage. Now why major rivers of India and places of pilgrimage? Now why it talks about all this? So it's like a short guide, tour guide how we have. Why it does so and why the name Narada Purana? Because Narada is said to be a wanderer, goes about here and there. So he would have visited many places. So that's why the name is rightly given here as Narada Purana. Talks about places. So that's why the name is rightly given here as Narada Purana. Talks about the major rivers of India, 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, and it also talks about planets and so astronomy mainly, and some information regarding planets. So astronomy mainly and some information regarding planets. Narada has also, it is said that Narada talks about a philosophy called Brihat Kalpa. Now what exactly is the Brihat Kalpa? Brihat Kalpa is a time. What exactly is Brihat Kalpa? We don't have time now. You can just search it for yourselves. Maybe at the end, when we have time, we'll talk about that. It is said that Narada has told this Brihat Kalpa philosophy when he was sitting on the bank of the Gomati river. The Gomati river, he advises this Kalpa. It's a philosophy. Now the different. So Narada Purana basically talks about the major rivers. It talks about the 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, and so on. It also talks about Narada's conversation. Narada, as I told you, he goes about here and there. So he has talked to many people. Again, lot of Vishnu Bhaktas. He's talked like Prahlada, Dhruva. So the conversations between them is also mentioned with the Narada. Now here Narada very clearly, he gives some advices. He says that if we sincerely worship Vishnu, there is no need to worry anything about anything in earthing. There is no need to worry anything about anything in earthing. So I am not saying, Narada says in the Narada Purana. That's why he was called as Deva Rishi. Rishi who is equal to God. He says you don't chant anything else if you can just chant Om Namo Narayana, that itself is enough. Some chant as Om Namo Narayana, Namo Narayana, that itself is enough. Some chant as Om Namo Narayana Namaha. So that's why when some people tell you, even today they'll tell you, it's okay, you don't do anything, you just chant the name, any name like Rama, Krishna, Narayana and so on. That itself is enough. We take it in a very light way. How is that possible? But all these things, we take it in a very light way. How is that possible? But all these things are actually mentioned in the Puranas only. Devarshi Narada himself says that if you chant only this mantra and if you sincerely worship Lord Vishnu. Now why he says Lord Vishnu here? Because he was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. So that doesn't mean you cannot worship Shiva. Basically, any God, sincerely, he says that you don't have to worry about anything. He will take care of everything. So this is a gist of Narada Purana. So basically, Narada Purana talks about geography. Out of geography, a little bit of astronomy also, philosophy. And it further talks about some small stories and so on. So basically, Narada Purana is like everything. It covers everything in short in about 25,000 verses. Okay. Next Purana is Vamana Purana. Vamana Purana, it is named after the Vamana Avatara, the dwarf avatara of Lord Vishnu. It contains chapters which glorify Vishnu, but it talks more about chapters glorifying Shiva. There are a few chapters that talk about goddess also. So for Vishnu there are chapters. More than that, there are chapters that talk about Shiva, and there are a few chapters that talk about the goddess. It states about many places that are related to Lord Shiva. So if anyone wants to visit temples or religious, any place that is dedicated in praise of Lord Shiva, so Vamana Purana is like a travel guide for those. It describes about many Shiva related places in India. That is Vamana. So again, don't go by the name. All these Puranas, again, as I told you, don't go by the name. Just because it is Vamana doesn't mean that it will be only regarding Vamana or Vishnu. It talks more and more about Shiva. So that's why when many people, we don't know much about Shiva, or as I told you, Ganesha also, you can refer to all these Puranas. There are a lot of stories that are related to these. Okay, so this is Vamana Purana. Next Purana, Matsya Purana. Now Vamana Purana contains 10,000 verses. Next is Matsya Purana. What is Matsya Purana? Matsya Purana is named after the Matsya Avatara, that is the fish avatara. Now again here when we say fish, it was actually half human, half fish, not exactly a full fish. So just like Narasimha, half lion, half man, similarly here it was half human, half fish. Now it talks about Matsya, that is the first avatara, Matsya Avatara, and here it also talks about stories of Brahma and Saraswati, which are very, very, very rare. It talks about Brahma and Saraswati. Further, it talks about yoga, duties for every person that we follow, duties, ethics that we have. It talks about charity, dana, that we have to do, donation. It talks about festivals related to both Shiva and Vishnu. It talks about duties of a king. What are the duties of a king? Talks about duties of a king. What are the duties of a king? Talks about Vastu Shastra. Today, whenever we buy a new house, new car, anything, we call a priest and Vastu, or Vastu Shanti, Homa, Vastu Shanti Puja, all such things we do. For that, it is a science in itself. It's not plain astrology. Vastu Shastra is a science. Matsya Purana talks about. So Matsya Purana also it talks about so many things. Charity. Matsya Avatara is there, it talks about charity. It talks about temples dedicated to Shiva and Vishnu both. Vastu Shastra. Now each one of us, we have some duty to do. So that it talks about for every man, what are the duty. Then importance of charity, dana dharma as we call. The duties of a king. How should a king be there? What are his duties? Talks about Brahma and Vishnu also. So Brahma and Saraswati. Stories of Brahma and Saraswati. So these are covered in the Matsya Purana. Now next Purana is Garuda Purana. Garuda Purana contains 19,000 verses. 19,000 verses. is about Pitru Karma and detail. The Shraddha ceremony is about Pitru Karma and detail. The Shraddha ceremony or the final rite ceremony that we do to our ancestors, Garuda Purana talks about detail about these Pitru Karma. So whatever we are doing today, whatever karmas, pujas, whatever you do, sometimes we don't take it very seriously. The Pitru Karma and all. Those who feel that we should not do our Shraddha, what is the use? As if my ancestor who died thousands of years ago is even thinking about me. Why should I do something for him to a person whom I have not even seen or heard? Such questions do come in our minds. Garuda Purana gives a very good explanation for all that in detail about Pitru Karma. It also goes further, talks about the dialogue that happens between Lord Vishnu and Garuda. So Lord Vishnu, for this there is a legend story that goes that once Garuda became very proud, saying, and he went and told Lord Vishnu that I'm carrying you every day on my back. So that means I should be stronger than you because I can bear your weight. For that Lord Vishnu, so he became very egoistic. For that Lord Vishnu gives him an answer. So he said, Lord Vishnu first he was silent. So then he called Garuda nearby and Lord Vishnu touched the shoulder of Garuda. And Lord Vishnu touched the shoulder of Garuda. Garuda could not bear the strength, the weight of Vishnu. He went away and he said, how come this? So Garuda himself was surprised. He said that every day I carry you, I don't feel your weight much. You have just touched me on my shoulder. How come you are so heavy? How come you are so heavy? So for that Lord Vishnu gives an answer. For all living creatures in this world, my duty is maintaining of this creation, this whole universe. I have given you the Shakti, I have given you the power of carrying me on my back. So now I just remove that power. You see how you cannot even bear me. So if today we are doing something, that is because we are being given that Shakti, we have given that power by Lord Vishnu. That is what is believed. So that dialogue that happens, this conversation that happened between Vishnu and Garuda, that is also mentioned in the Garuda Purana, talks about Pitru Karma. Further, it talks about the concept of rebirth again. As Hinduism, Indian culture, we believe in rebirth. So that is why Garuda Purana talks about rebirth. Then it also includes some chapters on minerals and stones of India. Now, India is known for its mineral. Purana talks about that. In geography, we study this area is famous for its mineral, that mineral, this mineral, iron ore, copper, coal, and so on. Minerals, metals, then medicines, talks about various medicines, talks about various diseases and their symptoms. So basically, the geography and the science part is in the Garuda Purana. Talks about little bit of politics, duties of a king again, and further, it also talks a bit about Hindu calendar. How is the Hindu calendar? Now, we have the Hindu calendar that starts in the month of April. Now, I think now for few it would have started. Next, a few people it will start from the Tamil New Year that comes next week. From that till next day. So usually this March, April till the next March, April. So that is a Hindu calendar that we follow. So Garuda Purana also talks about that. Finally, towards the end, Garuda Purana also talks about how we have to practice yoga. How should yoga be practiced? So Garuda Purana again talks about varied topics. Just 1 minute. Just 1 second. So till here is everything going well? Are you understanding? Yes. Prerana is enjoying. I hope it's okay?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So I hope you're finding it interesting and not boring. You don't have an option still.
One question, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes.
They say that Garuda Purana we should not keep in the house. How far it is from?
See, that is because it talks about this are just myths. No, as far as I know, there is not any reason for it. It is a text that gives us so much information, then why not keep it in the house? So, there are all myths. See, even if you keep the Mahabharata or you don't keep the Mahabharata, every day for some other reason there is some argument or fight happening. You keep the Garuda Purana, so all we should not get into such things, not keep. It is a Purana, it talks about something good. Mahabharata talks about Lord Krishna. The Gita, we are keeping the Gita in the house. Gita is a part of Mahabharata. So these are all just simple myths that again people develop. Just as I told you, the discrimination between Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and so on. Just as I told you, the discrimination between Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and so on. Again, there might be some reason to this. At least I don't know. But whoever tells us such things, you should ask them a reason why so. For that, this is the only reason that I have heard. For Mahabharata, fight will come down. This is a very invalid reason. Anyways, we are fighting for so many things. If there are two, this is a very invalid reason. Anyways, we are fighting for so many things. If there are two people, there is going to be some other argument that's coming. Of course, that doesn't mean that we are going to fight with weapons as it happened in the Mahabharata war. But if there is more than one person, we are going to fight. That's the only thing that's happening. Then any small argument, be it for even a small thing, but that's the only thing that's happening. Then any small argument, be it for even a small thing, but fights are going to come. We are going to fall sick. Like for the Garuda Purana, they say we should not keep it, otherwise diseases and other things come. Just because it talks about it. Diseases anyway, we are falling sick in the middle. So some are at least you have a cold or a fever, something. So some are at least you have a cold or a fever, something. So such things are bound to happen. Please, this is the reason that I. Next Purana is already 6:50. We are still on the 6th Purana. Okay, so we'll now talk Srimad Bhagavata Purana, one of the important Puranas. No, not important, we should say, popular Purana. It's because this mainly talks about the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. In the Bhagavata Purana, we have 22 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. Most popular are 10, but in all there are 22 and even more incarnations. The Bhagavata Purana, 22 are discussed, but there are many more incarnations also of Lord Vishnu. Srimad Bhagavata contains all stories related to Lord Vishnu, Krishna, and it also talks about Vedanta, little bit of Vedanta. Now, what is the Vedanta? Last of Vedas, the Upanishads. Gives little information about the Vedanta also. It talks basically about Navavida Bhakti. You would have heard this. Kirtana. There is a verse, Shravana Kirtana, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. Now, Srimad Bhagavata Purana is a Purana that specifies only and only about Bhakti and devotion. Shravanam, listening to the stories of the Lord. Kirtanam, facing the Lord, singing his Pada Sevanam, serving the feet. Archanam is worshipping by offering flowers or fruits. Vandanam, joining our hands, paying homage. Dasyam is again serving in any form of service. Sakhyam, friendship with other devotees of God. Atma Nivedanam, friendship with other devotees of God. Atma Nivedanam is complete surrender. So these are Navavida Bhakti that we know, 9 forms of Bhakti. So it again contains the essence of Vedanta philosophy. Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam basically talks about devotional service to the Supreme. Bhagavatam basically talks about devotional service to the Supreme God, Vishnu. Supreme Lord, Vishnu is where the Bhagavatam talks about mainly. It talks a bit about Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavata also talks a lot about Kali Yuga. So whatever Krishna has said, he also talks about the future year. So anyone, if you read Krishna has said, he also talks about the future year. So anyone, if you read through the Bhagavata, actually, you will know many things that Krishna has told will happen in the Kali Yuga. They are happening even today. Or they will happen. So the Srimad Bhagavata especially got popular during the Bhakti movement. A little bit of history, if you know, during the Bhakti movement. A little bit of history, if you know, the Bhakti movement that came in. A lot of bhaktis like Abhangas, Kirtanas, Namdev, Tukaram, and so on. When people actually started singing the names of the God, names of the Lord, that is when the Bhakti movement came in. So Srimad Bhagavata especially became popular during that time. Puranam contains 10,000 verses. It is also called as Adi Purana. Adi Purana. It is said to have come first, so one reference says that is why it is the Adi. Now Brahma Purana, another name for Brahma Purana is Shaura Purana. Shaura. Shaura Purana is related to the sun god or Surya. The Brahma Purana has 10,000 verses divided in 245 chapters, 245. And the Brahma Purana is also divided into 2 parts. Purva is Brahma Purana. It doesn't talk about Brahma at all. Now, a major part of Brahma Purana talks about rivers such as the Godavari River and the Chambal River. The Chambal River is found in Rajasthan. Today's around Orissa, today's Odisha, whatever you call it. So it talks about basically some part of northern India, Orissa, Godavari River, and the Rajasthan. Now, Brahma Purana is also said to have borrowed some texts from Mahabharata and from the Vishnu and the Vayu Purana. So some texts Mahabharata and from the Vishnu and the Vayu Purana. So some texts are quite common in the Brahma Purana. So Brahma Purana also talks about a little bit of Manvantara, as we taught the time cycles. Vaivasvata Manvantara, current Manvantara. So it also talks about other Manvantaras also. And it also talks about other Manvantaras also. And it also tells us little about different temples or different sites, different places related to Vishnu, Shiva, the goddess Devi, and Suri, Lord Suri. So basically, Brahma Purana does not talk about Brahma at all. It talks about many other places, like related to a few gods and places around the Godavari River, Chambal River, and many small places around Odisha or Odisha state. Bhavishya Purana. Bhavishya stands for future. So this is basically a work that will tell you something that will happen in future. So again, Bhavishya Purana believes a little bit, it contains some stories of Surya again, sun god, and it's a little bit of tantric that we have today in India, bit of tantras that people follow. Now, when I say tantric, do not get confused and say that it is always just black magic and it has no value. No. Say that it is always just black magic and it has no value. No. Tantric or Shaktism, those who are devotees of goddess, you know that we practice tantra. Mantra, yantra, tantra. These are three concepts that are practiced in devotion. So tantra is wherein you use different things or different your hand movements also. You would have seen some priests. They will do some positions with their hands and they will worship. So it is a form of worship. That is a science. That is a philosophy. That's a way practice. So that is a tantra study. So that is Bhavishya Purana. So, and it also talks about major festivals that are celebrated or that are related to all the festivals, to Hindu gods, goddesses that are celebrated in and around all through the year we have celebrated. It also talks about little bit of geography and some Yatra text, that is what our Tirtha Yatra Purana that we call. So it talks about different pilgrimage places, Bhavishya Purana. Next is Agni Purana. Agni Purana contains 15,400 or 15,500 verses. Agni Purana. It is also one of the major Puranas. Medicine, poetry, grammar, trees, plants, information about trees, plants. It is a Purana that talks about Shaivism, devotees of Shiva, Vaishnavism, devotees of Vishnu, Shaktism, devotees of Shakti. It also talks about taxation policy. Today we have to pay a lot of taxes. So it talks a little about taxation. It specifically talks about the geography of Mithila. Sita was staying in Mithila, Janaka. So Janaka's kingdom Mithila. Talks little about culture, history, mythology, politics. Agni Purana also talks about the education system that was prevalent in those times. It gives us some information about food that we eat, and many more topics. So it's like an encyclopedia again, Agni Purana. And many more topics. So it's like an encyclopedia again, Agni Purana. So at least I hope that you're interested to know so many things are mentioned. We are so much interested in reading anything that any random person has written about. A big author has written something on taxation, immediately I'll open and read what are the new laws. Big author has written something on taxation, immediately I'll open and read what are the new laws, what are the new taxes that are coming, how much tax I have to pay, how much percent is getting cut, and so on. But what about the taxation that we have in our own scriptures? So sometimes we can open and read these texts, we know how it was there. And surely it is some or the other way text we know how it was there. surely it is somehow the other way related to our own lives today. If today also, if we are paying taxes, or if we are following an education system, we are having some food, we are having some laws, everything that is related to these olden texts. And you can't just regard them saying it is something old. Now what is it? If it was old, then today we will not even know Agni Purana. You take our own example. Today you are alive. Tomorrow once you die, your children will remember you. Your grandchildren will remember you. Maybe your great-grandchildren will remember you. After that, till our great-grandchildren, even our parents themselves, they don't know. Right? So beyond the great-grandfather, we are not, it's not that we are not interested, we don't know. 2-3 generations, maximum 4. Beyond that, we cannot remember anything. Right? We don't even know they are in our relation. But look, I'll just give an example. So we don't remember our own family or these texts thousands and thousands of years ago. Today we at least know their names. Some or the other way it will be related. It has been passed on to so many generations together. They have surely some aspects that are there in them. At least once, it's not that we have to believe everything, we have to accept everything. But at least we can open and see what it is. It contains again 18,000 verses, and it centers around Krishna and Radha. So now, again a controversial subject. Krishna and Radha. Who was Radha? How was she related to Krishna? She was not the wife of Krishna, but still Krishna loved her. So it has led to a lot of controversies. So Brahma Vaivarta Purana talks about Krishna and Radha. It also talks about some goddesses like Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Savitri, Satyavan Savitri. It also relates to that. And this is Brahma Vaivarta Purana is most popular in Bengal, the Bengal region. This is most popular in Bengal, the Bengal region. This is the eastern part of India. Next, Brahmanda Purana. Brahmanda Purana has 12,000 verses. It is again one of the earliest Puranas. After Agni Purana, I told you it's called the Adi Purana. So after the Agni Purana, we have the Brahmanda Purana. Has 12,000 verses, again an old Purana. It is also encyclopedia. It's also like an encyclopedia. It talks about nature, natural elements, trees, rivers. Talks about dharma. Now, when I say dharma does not mean say a very low-level thinking or a translation. What is dharma? Dharma is religion. Dharma is spirituality. Dharma is everyone has dharma to follow. When we say Hindu dharma, means dharma is popular by Hindus. But that's why we should not call it as Hindu dharma only. We call it as from Sanatana Kala, which is there eternal. It's always there. It was there before, it is there today. It's going to be there too. So dharma is just a duty. Each one of us, we have some duties to follow. As a father, you have a duty. As a mother, you have a duty. As a child, you have a duty. As a daughter, you have a duty, and so on. For your professional life. So like this, each one of us, we have some of the other duties that are there. So these duties are only dharma. Okay, so it talks about dharma, talks about a good government. Brahmanda Purana talks about government. How a good government, administration, geography. And it also talks about a few places like Kashmir, Cuttack. I don't know, today's name is also Cuttack, or you call it something else. Cuttack. Cuttack. And Kanchipuram. Talks about 3 places, Cuttack, Kashmir and Kanchipuram. It's like a travel guide to these places, because again Kanchipuram are called as a temple city, Kashmir places, because again Kanchipuram are called as a temple city, Kashmir, Cuttack. So Kashmir is around everywhere. You can hear about Kashmir only now. So it talks about Kashmir also. What are the good places to see there? What all is special in that place? Brahmanda Purana talks about that. Brahmanda Purana, special in that place. Brahmanda Purana talks about that. Brahmanda Purana. Now can someone tell what does the Brahmanda Purana contain? Cuttack, right? Yeah. Brahmanda Purana contains something. Can someone guess? I think many of you should know this. Can someone guess? I think many of you should know this.
About the universe. Universe.
Creation. That all I got. No, I'm not saying what is there in the Brahmanda Purana. I'm asking something else that we all should know, and we all know.
7 lokas, Sapta lokas.
No. Brahmanda Purana. पुराणे उत्तरखण्डे अगस्त्य हयग्रीवागस्त्य संवादे श्री ललिता सहस्रनाम स्तोत्रम संपूर्णम. So Lalita Sahasranama is included in the Brahmanda Purana. Okay? And the Adhyatma Ramayana that we have. Next is Padma Purana. Padma Purana is very big, 55,000 verses. It is named after Padma. Padma is a lotus on which Lord Brahma sits. And it has stories in major stories, because it is 55,000 verses, it's quite big. It contains stories of Vishnu. It talks about pilgrimage places, especially around Rajasthan, and it talks about the Brahma temple that's there in Pushkar, today's Rajasthan. Brahma is only one temple. We don't worship Brahma today like other gods, but he has only one temple that's in Pushkar, Rajasthan. Also includes some versions of the stories of Rama and Sita other than the Valmiki Ramayana. This you have to know. So it doesn't contain the same story. So always note, all these Puranas, you will never find the same thing. Then people will not read it. You're reading the Ramayana, that also has the same story. This also has the same story. People will also has the same story. This also has the same story. People will not read it. So then, here we have, it talks about Rama's story. Padma Purana also talks about Rama's story, but something different. Maybe how we have different versions. Similarly, it is a different version of the Purana. But whenever you have to give some pramanam against some reference you want, what should, like we have a confusion. What should I believe? Should I believe Valmiki Ramayana or the Padma Purana? Always first preference Valmiki Ramayana, because it is an itihasam. Next is Padma Purana. Next are the Puranas. So this is Padma Purana. It also talks about an important thing. It also seasons, different seasons that we have. Of course, today, because of global warming and other things, we are not actually following all seasons. It is raining untimely, heat is more, winter is more, all that. But actually, how seasons will be there, temples, rivers, Padma Purana also has that. It also talks about a very small concept, how guests should be treated. Hospitality, concept of hospitality. When someone comes home, Athithi Devo Bhava, we believe in this today. Even when someone comes home, how we should serve the person, that also is talked about in Padma. Next, Shiva Purana. Shiva Purana also called as Vayu Purana. Shiva Purana also called as Vayu Purana. Talks about, contains 24,000 verses. And it's a form of Shaivism. Shaivism talks about Shiva. It focuses on Lord Shiva and Parvati, but it also talks about other gods in general. It talks about Advaita philosophy. Advaita Vedanta philosophy. Bhagavata talks about Vedanta philosophy. Here it talks about Advaita Vedanta. It's again a philosophical way, which was propounded by Adi Shankaracharya. We don't have time today to discuss what is Advaita, but you can just note down Shiva Purana talks about Advaita. Linga Purana. Next. Linga Purana contains 11,000 verses, and it discusses the concept of Lingam, the Shiva Lingam that we have, and the origin of the universe. Every one of us should read the Linga Purana. Why I am saying so is, regardless of references that come in, how Shiva Linga has come up, and there are, I'm not saying all of us, but there are many people who take the concept of the Shiva Linga story in a very bad way, in a very, you can say in a very negative. But if you read the Linga Purana, surely you'll get a very clear idea how the concept of Shiva Linga. Then it also talks about a story wherein Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu had a dispute, had a fight between them. Who was greater? And then Lord Vishnu sends both of them to find the end of the lingam. And the further story of the 5 lingams, that lingams, fire, water, and so on. So Agni Lingam story is also there. Agni Lingam, which is there in today's Tiruvannamala district, Arunachaleshwara, that is the Agni Lingam. So that story is also mentioned in Linga Purana. Next, Kurma Purana. Kurma Purana, the name is after the second. Kurma Purana, the name is after the second major avatara of Lord Vishnu, Lord Vans, Kurma Purana. It contains 17,000 verses. Just 1 minute. Just one second. Just a second. Just a second. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah. So yeah. So sorry. So yeah. So yeah. So we were talking about Linga Purana, right? So Linga Purana also talks about the Agni Lingam. I told you. It is Arunachal. Purva. So Purva Purana has 17,000 verses. In all 17,000 verses, divided in 95 chapters. General is regarded as the most interesting of all Puranas because it talks about legends, mythology, pilgrimage, geography. It talks about all gods. Though it is Purva Purana, it talks about Vishnu, Shiva and Shakti. And why it is very very famous is because Lord Shiva's Gita. Now we know only one Gita, Bhagavad Gita told by Lord Vishnu. There is Devi Gita also. There is a Gita composed by Lord Shiva also. That is called as Ishvara Gita. Gita, it has the same idea or the same philosophy as told by Lord Vishnu.
Rudra Gita is different.
Rudra Gita is different. Rudra Gita is told in the Bhagavata Purana. That is different. That also the principles are same, but this is
Gita and Ishvara Gita are same. Shiva Gita.
No. Rudra Gita is different. That comes in the Bhagavata Purana, Purva Purana, and it is very, you can say, almost similar to Bhagavad Gita as told by Lord Krishna. So this is one speciality of Purva. Next, Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Purana is a quite comparatively small Purana. It has 9,000 verses. It refers to Markandeya, who is 9,000 verses. It refers to Markandeya, who is included in the list of Sapta Chiranjeevis. Chiranjeevis who say they are living even today, they will be present in the end of Kali Yuga. The 8th Chiranjeevi who has no death. So a text, he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and death. So a text, he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and also to Lord Vishnu. So in this, it is very rare. Now why this Purana is rare, it is said is because all the Puranas, if you see, they are after some god. Vishnu Purana, Brahma Purana. But Markandeya Purana is the only Purana which is named Brahma Purana. But Markandeya Purana is the only Purana which is named after a devotee of the Lord Markandeya. Now in the Markandeya Purana also an important text comes. What is that? Naganathan and Ananya, if you are there, I want you to tell me the answer. I want you to tell me the answer. What comes in a Markandeya Purana?
Mahamrityunjaya Stotra.
No.
Devi Mahatmya.
No. Ananya and Naganathan, where are you? Just because they learned it, so okay. So, Markandeya Purane. If you remember, we used to chant
Markandeya Purana.
Yes, Indraji, everyone is there. So, Devi Mahatmya comes in the Devi Mahatmya comes in the Markandeya. So that, so by the biggest highlight of this Purana is it is centered on a devotee of the god, that is Markandeya. It talks about two other aspects, that is Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So again they are talked about in this Purana. It also talks about the goddess as Durga Saptashati. Same as Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so if you see all the different scriptures that we have, they are all same. I told you the Ishvara Gita, Bhagavad Gita and the Devi Mahatmya. All three are at par with each other. Same principles are told. But what is the difference is, Devi Mahatmya, they tell this, all the principles are told to see. That is okay. Now, in the Devi Mahatmya, those who want, if you want, you can note it down. Devi Mahatmya has chapters 81 to 93, 14 chapters, 13 chapters in all. So 81 to 93 are the chapters of Devi Mahatmya, of the Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Purana of Devi Mahatmya, of the Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Purana has 137 chapters in all. Yes, 137 chapters. Out of that, 81 to 93 are Devi Mahatmya. This Devi Mahatmya. Next, Skanda Purana, largest of all Puranas. longest of all Puranas. It has 81,000 verses. Talks about Skanda. Skanda, Lord Kartikeya, Muruga, Shiva's son. He is named Skanda because he is son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. He is also known by different names. Here shows Skanda as a small boy, as a young boy, as a war god. War god who faces many wars. Tarakasura and all were killed by him. So in the Skanda Purana, it just gives reference little bit about Lord Kartikeya. It does not show him as married to Valli and Devasena. So it does not as a war god. So that does not mean that Skanda did not get married. Muruga got married, that is mentioned in some other text. But Skanda as a small boy, as a war god is shown in Skanda Purana. Skanda Purana talks about many aspects, festivals, temples, dharma, again duty, mythology. It also talks about some legendary scenes. It talks about legends and it also serves as a pilgrimage travel guide. Again, it tells about many places. So those people who travel guide, again it tells about many places. So those people who go on pilgrimages or you like to visit new places, you can refer to all these books. You can see there are so many places that are mentioned. Now out of that, there will be many places which we are not even aware of today. You have not even heard their names. But we can at least see how many places are there about India. Now India also doesn't mean the geographic India that we live in today. Indian subcontinent before partition. Okay? So there will be places of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka also that are in. Okay? Next is last Purana, Varaha Purana. Now Skanda Purana is also called as a Mahapurana because almost equal to the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is 1 lakh verses. Last is Varaha Purana. It contains 24,000 verses. It is divided in 217 chapters to 1/7. It also puts chapters on Shiva and Shakti. It talks about Shiva and Shakti. It is called Avatara, third avatara, in the form of a boar of Lord Vishnu. And it also acts as a travel guide to places of Mathura and Nepal. Tells about many places near Nepal and Mathura. So again, as I told you, India, today Nepal is not a part of it. Still Varaha Purana talks about it. And Varaha Purana, it also includes karma. Discusses a bit about karma also, good actions, bad actions. And one thing very interestingly you have to note here is, though it talks about Mathura, just mentions, but it does not talk a lot about Krishna. Why? About Krishna. Why? Because Krishna has already been talked about in detail in Bhagavata Purana. So as we discussed earlier also, same things are not repeated anywhere. Just Mathura, places of Mathura are mentioned, but lot of stories related to Krishna are not mentioned in the Varaha. Okay. To Krishna are not mentioned in the Varaha. Okay. So I think we finished perfectly on time. So 18 Puranas are done. Now there is a small verse which is traditionally remembered by people. I just chant it. Now we don't have time. I just chant it. Now we don't have time. I didn't write the verse or anything. I forgot it. Otherwise I could have shown you. So I'm going to share it on the group that is made. So don't worry.
Already I showed 2-line verse of that. Also that Sarga, Pratisarga, what is said initially, share it.
I will share those two verses.
Sarga, what is said initially, share it.
I will share those two verses. So this verse I will just tell you, just to remember the names of all the 18 Puranas. Ma Dvayam, A Dvayam Chaiva, A Trayam, Ra Chatushtayam, A Na Ka Linga Puranani Projection. Don't worry if you don't understand. Ma Dvayam, Dvayam means two. So we have two Puranas starting from Ma. Matsya Purana, Markandeya. Madvayam, Bhatrayam, Chaiva. Like that, so on. Bhatrayam, Vachatushtayam. Na, Pa, Linga, Padma, Linga. So just the initials of every Purana are told, just for us to remember the chants of all names of all the 18 Puranas. Okay? So I'll not discuss about it in detail now. We're not having time. I'll share the verse and its meaning also on the group. So you can just remember this verse so that you know the Puranas. So have to have maybe few sessions. Let's see if it happens anytime later. But at least I hope little interest has come in your minds. You could know what are the Puranas, what do they contain in general. I think you get it. You have online sources, you have books also. You can purchase the Puranas, read it. It's very interesting, even for young children, elders, everyone. Youngsters also can read it. Elders, everyone. So you can make an attempt at least to know little about. Okay. So if anyone wants to ask or say anything, you can ask. Otherwise, please don't. Ask. Otherwise, please don't. Okay.
One question, madam. Out of the Dashavatara, all the avatars are happened in the earth. That means the people were seen physically.
Avatars have happened on earth. On earth only whatever happens is avatar. Avatars have happened on earth. On earth only whatever happens is avatar. It's what all incarnations are happening on earth. That is only avatar.
In some discourses, I heard first 5 avatars of the Dashavatara, that is happened in a different plane. That people are not seen just like Rama and Krishna, how they seen the avatar and all those things. They happen in different, and some sages they saw in the different plane. That's what
See, that is,
mentioned.
it is first avatar is like Matsya avatar. It happened in water, but water is also on earth only. So you're asking the planet Earth, right?
Madam, these books are available in local languages.
Yes, they are available. Yeah. So whichever, like, if you want in Tamil or something also, that also is.
Kannada.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So yes,